Have you ever wondered if everything you've been told about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is just a carefully crafted illusion? What if the truth behind their royal exit is far darker and far more manipulative than anyone could have imagined? Imagine this, Meghan Markle, the woman we all thought was simply seeking freedom, was actually playing a much deeper game. What if the woman Harry defended, the one he gave up everything for, was the one pulling the strings all along? But wait, there's more. The headlines we've been reading? They barely scratch the surface. Behind the glitzy media blitz and tearful interviews lies a strategy so bold, so calculated, it's hard to believe anyone could fall for it. So, what's really going on behind closed doors? Stick with me as we peel back the layers of this fascinating and troubling story. You won't believe the shocking truths we're about to uncover. Trust me, this is one royal mystery you don't want to miss. Hit the subscribe button, and let's dive into the rabbit hole together. Let's take a step back for a moment and think about the story we've all been told. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a couple that seemed to captivate the world, leaving us all enthralled by their fairy tale romance. But is it really a fairy tale? Or have we all been manipulated by a story that's been meticulously crafted for the public? At first glance, the narrative seems clear. Harry and Meghan were two souls deeply in love, trying to break free from the suffocating confines of royal life. They wanted their privacy, their independence, and the chance to live life on their own terms. The world watched as they stepped away from royal duties, citing a desire for freedom and a break from the constant media scrutiny. Meghan, the outsider, the one who had felt alienated, was simply searching for a place where she could be herself, away from the harsh expectations of the royal family. But, as we peel back the layers, doesn't something about this story seem too perfect? Too convenient? Could it be that the true motivations behind their exit from the monarchy are far more complex than we've been led to believe? Could there be another agenda here? One that's been carefully hidden under the guise of personal freedom and royal rejection? Let's think about the timeline. Harry, known for his rebellious nature, was always the wild card in the royal family. But why was he so eager to back Meghan's every move, even when it meant distancing himself from his family? Sure, Meghan was unhappy, but was this really about her desire for personal freedom? Or was it about something much more strategic? Meghan, after all, is no stranger to the public eye. As an actress, she was no rookie when it came to media attention. Her career, although successful, was far from the fame and influence she desired. But marrying Harry, now that was a game changer. The couple's royal exit wasn't just about escaping media attention. It was about creating a platform, one that would allow Meghan to achieve what she had always dreamed of: fame, power, and financial independence. What better way to do that than to leverage her marriage to a royal, using Harry's fame to propel her into the global spotlight? The carefully timed announcements, the media interviews, the emotional pleas for privacy, all of it served to shift the focus from royal duty to personal suffering. But who really benefited from all of this? Was it Harry, or was it Meghan? Who knew exactly how to use her newfound royal status to her advantage? And here's where things get even murkier. What role did Harry really play in this scheme? Was he simply the loyal husband, the protective partner? Or was he unknowingly being led down a path that would sever his ties to the very institution he was born into? Meghan's dissatisfaction with royal life wasn't just about a desire to break free. It was about creating space for her own personal brand. A brand that, mind you, could be worth millions. Netflix deals, exclusive interviews, global media partnerships. All of these opportunities presented themselves as a direct result of her connection to Harry and the royal family. But as we delve deeper, we must ask ourselves, how much of this was truly about personal freedom? And how much was about personal gain? Is it possible that Harry, blinded by love and loyalty, failed to see that he was being used as a pawn in a much larger game? We're just scratching the surface of this royal unraveling. But there's one detail I'm sure you won't see coming. As we uncover more, you'll start to question everything you thought you knew about this couple and the world they've created. So, stick with me as we reveal the truth about Harry and Meghan and the shocking reality that no one wants to talk about. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's dive deeper into the real motivations behind Harry and Meghan's break from the royal family. We've all heard the narrative. Meghan, feeling stifled by the British monarchy, was desperate for freedom. Harry, ever the loyal husband, followed her lead, defending her against the relentless press and the rigid expectations of the royal family. But here's where things start to fall apart. Could it be that Meghan's grievances were not the sole reason for their exit? And if so, what was really driving them? Let's consider Meghan's background. Before meeting Harry, she was a relatively successful actress, yet still far from the international superstardom she craved. Meghan wasn't a household name like other Hollywood icons. Her role in Suits was notable, but hardly a breakthrough into global fame. So, what if Meghan saw her marriage to Harry as the ticket to the level of celebrity she had always dreamed of? It's not hard to imagine that Harry, a man who had struggled with his own royal duties, might have been the perfect partner for Meghan's ambitions. Meghan wasn't just seeking a husband, she was seeking a platform. And what better way to get it than by marrying into one of the world's most famous families? Here's where the contradictions begin to surface. Meghan has repeatedly portrayed herself as a victim, trapped in a stifling, archaic system. Yet, after stepping down from royal duties, she immediately signed multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify. The question is, was this really about finding peace and privacy? Or was it about capitalizing on her royal status to build her own empire? The timing here is crucial. As soon as the couple announced their departure from the royal family, Meghan's public profile skyrocketed. Interviews, documentaries, book deals. Suddenly, she was everywhere. But wasn't this the same woman who had complained about the press and her lack of privacy? How could the same person, who said she was exhausted by public attention, turn around and embrace the limelight with such enthusiasm? Was this truly about escaping the media? Or was it about using that very media to construct her own narrative, one that would feed into her growing brand? Now, let's pause for a moment and take a look at the history of the British royal family. This isn't the first time we've seen a royal member use their position for personal gain. We only need to look back to the scandalous abdication of King Edward VIII, who gave up the throne for Wallis Simpson. While their story was rooted in love, the consequences of Edward's actions had a profound impact on the monarchy. Similarly, Harry and Meghan's decision to step away from royal life, despite their claims of wanting to escape the pressures, seems more calculated than it first appeared. This isn't just about two people seeking freedom. It's about strategy, influence, and the ability to control their narrative. Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't just breaking free from royal life. She was breaking into the global media world, using her connection to the royal family to boost her visibility, her influence, and her wealth. But what does that say about her true intentions? Could it be that, all along, Meghan's desire for independence was just a smokescreen for a much grander, more lucrative plan? Now, let's think about Harry, the man who, according to public perception, was simply a loving husband, supporting his wife's dreams. But Harry's actions are becoming increasingly difficult to defend. Was he truly unaware of the game Meghan was playing? Or was he too emotionally invested to see it? It's hard to ignore the possibility that, in his blind loyalty to Meghan, Harry became an unwitting pawn in a much bigger scheme. How many times have we seen him defend Meghan against the press, publicly criticizing his own family? Yet, as we dig deeper, we have to ask, was Harry's loyalty to Meghan, and by extension to their shared agenda, more important than his own royal heritage? Here's where it gets truly complicated. Meghan's influence over Harry wasn't just about emotional support, it was strategic. It's easy to imagine that Meghan, with her media-savvy background, knew exactly how to guide Harry's actions and shape his views. The more Harry distanced himself from his family, the more it served Meghan's long-term goals. But did Harry realize he was being manipulated? Was he truly so blinded by his affection for Meghan that he failed to see that his loyalty was being exploited for personal gain? We're getting closer to the truth, but there's one more crucial detail we need to explore. Before we wrap up, let me ask you this. If this was all part of Meghan's grand plan, what happens when the truth comes to light? And what happens to Harry, the man who once pledged his life to serve the crown, when he realizes he may have been played all along? Stay tuned, because the revelations ahead will completely change how you view this entire royal saga. Let's dig deeper, shall we? Now that we've laid out the foundations, we need to address some uncomfortable truths that have been lurking beneath the surface of Harry and Meghan's carefully crafted narrative. What if everything we've been led to believe about their exit from the royal family is merely a mask for something more calculated, more strategic than we ever imagined? Let's break this down, step by step, and reveal what's really been going on. Let's start with the timeline once again. Meghan and Harry's departure from royal duties in early 2020 seemed abrupt, but let's look closer at how it all played out. At first glance, their claim of stepping back to seek a quieter, more independent life sounds reasonable. After all, who wouldn't want to escape the relentless media scrutiny and live a life free of royal obligations? But let's look at the reality. While they were stepping away from royal life, they immediately began negotiating multi-million-dollar deals with major companies like Netflix and Spotify. How does that align with their desire for privacy? Was this truly a move for personal freedom, or was it a strategic business maneuver to capitalize on their newfound celebrity? Now, here's where it gets interesting. After their royal exit, Harry and Meghan launched a public relations campaign that involved intimate interviews, personal revelations, and documentaries. Meghan's interview with Oprah in 2021, in which she painted the royal family as the ultimate villains, was the crowning moment. Her portrayal as the victim of royal mistreatment was so compelling, many were moved to support her. But isn't it strange that someone who claims to want privacy would sit down for such a high-profile interview? Did Meghan truly want privacy? Or was it a convenient way to further cement her place in the media spotlight? Now, let's talk about the money. The Netflix and Spotify deals weren't just about telling their own story, they were about creating a brand. Meghan had always wanted more than just a royal title. She wanted to be an icon, a mogul. The truth is, her real ambition was never about being Harry's wife. It was about using him, his fame, and his family's status as a stepping stone to create a media empire. This is not a new story. History is full of examples of people using their relationships with the powerful to further their own careers. Think about the likes of Wallis Simpson and Edward VIII, who were at the center of a scandal that changed the course of royal history. Just like them, Meghan saw her connection to Harry as the ultimate platform for launching herself into the limelight. But here's where it gets even more unsettling: Harry's role in all this. While Meghan has always been open about her ambitions, Harry, who was once the rebellious, free-spirited prince, seems to have lost his sense of self in this relationship. Was he truly acting out of love, or was he being manipulated every step of the way? The more we dig, the more it seems like Meghan was the one pulling the strings. Harry's increasing distance from his family, his vocal criticism of the monarchy, his emotional defense of Meghan against the media, it all lines up with a larger plan that only Meghan could have orchestrated. But did he ever stop to think that, maybe, just maybe, he was being used as a pawn in her game? Let's pause for a moment and reflect on what we're seeing here. Harry, the loyal husband, willingly sacrificed everything: the royal family, his position, his ties to his heritage, all to support Meghan. But why? Was it really about love? Or was it about being caught in a web of manipulation? Unable to see the bigger picture because he was blinded by his emotions? The truth, though uncomfortable, is this: Harry has become part of Meghan's empire-building project, a tool she used to create her own narrative. Now, let's turn to the most shocking part of this saga, the moment we all need to acknowledge. There's a growing suspicion that Harry is beginning to wake up. What happens when he realizes that Meghan wasn't just his wife, but the architect of a life that was more about ambition and power than love and loyalty? The moment of awakening is coming. And when it hits, it will shatter the carefully constructed image of their relationship. Harry, the man who has always been loyal, will have to face the reality that Meghan has been using him for her own personal gain all along. But here's the kicker: Harry has already been played for much longer than we thought. As we continue to peel back the layers of this royal drama, we will uncover even more details that will make you question everything. So, stick around, because the real shock is still yet to come. Now, let's take a moment to examine the bigger picture and ask ourselves, what's really at play here? As we continue to uncover the deeper layers of Harry and Meghan's story, we must confront a few unsettling questions. Was their decision to step away from the royal family really about seeking freedom? Or were they simply trying to craft a new, more lucrative narrative for themselves? And more importantly, who stands to benefit from this carefully staged drama? Let's take a closer look at the events that followed their departure. After they publicly renounced their royal duties, Harry and Meghan's lives exploded into the media spotlight. At first, they seemed to be seeking privacy, away from the constant scrutiny. But the irony here is undeniable. Shortly after stepping down, the couple signed multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify, two of the world's largest media companies. How could they claim to seek privacy and independence when they were so eagerly accepting the spotlight? This isn't just a coincidence. The timing of these deals raises a troubling question. Was their departure from royal life just the first step in an elaborate plan to establish themselves as global media figures? But here's where the plot thickens. Meghan's image as a victim, constantly battling the royal family and the media, was meticulously constructed. In her Oprah interview, she portrayed herself as the innocent party, trapped by a family that didn't understand her. She painted a picture of royal rejection that played perfectly into the hands of her supporters. But was this image really genuine? Or was it a strategic move to ensure her personal brand's survival? After all, Meghan had always wanted to be a star, not just a royal consort. The problem is, she was using her royal connection to propel herself into a much larger narrative. With Harry by her side, she had access to a platform that few could ever dream of. Yet it was her ambition, not love for Harry, that was driving the ship. Let's step back in time for a moment. History is full of examples of people using their relationships with the powerful to climb the social ladder. Think back to Wallis Simpson and Edward VIII. Or even more recently, the stories of celebrities leveraging their marriages to gain access to the right circles. Meghan wasn't the first to see the immense power that comes with being part of the royal family. But what's different here is the scale of the operation. Meghan didn't just want to marry a prince, She wanted to use that marriage to catapult herself into global stardom. And Harry, loyal as ever, has been both her partner and her pawn. But here's the most astonishing part of all, Harry's role in this. For all the public displays of support, is it possible that he's been blind to the truth? His every move, from his emotional defense of Meghan to his growing rift with the royal family, seems to be in lockstep with Meghan's ambitions. He's played the role of the loving husband, standing up to the media, distancing himself from his family. But at what cost? Was he acting out of love, or was he too deeply involved in Meghan's strategy to see the damage being done? Let's consider the possibility that Harry, in his desire to protect Meghan, has unwittingly become a tool in a much larger game. Meghan, with her sharp media savvy, used his emotions and his fame to secure her own path to success. But does Harry even realize how far he's gone? How much further can he be pulled into her world before he becomes completely estranged from everything he once held dear? And now, let's consider the next big question. Who stands to gain from all of this? While Harry and Meghan's public image takes center stage, who benefits from their decisions, their media deals, and their strategic moves? Is it just them? Or are there other forces at play behind the scenes, pulling the strings? Could there be a mastermind manipulating the entire situation, ensuring that their actions have a far-reaching effect on the royal family and its future? We're about to hit a turning point in this royal saga. The truth behind Harry and Meghan's actions may be far more complex and far more damning than we've been led to believe. There's one final detail, one last bombshell, that will change everything you thought you knew about this story. Stick with me as we unveil the shocking conclusion to this royal mystery, one that will leave you questioning everything. As we've uncovered, the story of Harry and Meghan is far more intricate than it first seemed. What we initially took at face value, the idea that they simply sought freedom from the royal family, appears to have been part of a much more calculated and strategic plan. Meghan's ambitions, the carefully timed media deals, and Harry's unwavering loyalty to her have all raised serious questions about their true motivations. Was their exit truly about seeking privacy and independence? Or was it about leveraging the royal family's influence to build a global brand? But here's the question we all need to ask. Was Harry simply manipulated by Meghan, or did he consciously choose to play a part in this grand narrative? And more importantly, where does this leave the royal family? And what happens next in their relationship with the monarchy? The truth is, we've only scratched the surface of this ongoing saga. This isn't the end of the story, far from it. As new revelations continue to emerge, the narrative surrounding Harry and Meghan will likely shift and evolve. Will Harry come to terms with the reality of what's been happening, or will he continue down this path, fully committed to his new life with Meghan? Only time will tell. So, what do you think? Was this all part of Meghan's plan from the start, or did things spiral out of control? What does the future hold for this couple? And for the royal family? I'd love to hear your thoughts and start a conversation about the true nature of their departure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the important updates. This story is far from over, and we'll be right here to explore every twist and turn with you. Stay tuned!